What's up, y'all? J. Roos Theory. Thanks for watching. Make sure you look down and hit that subscribe button for a dude. Appreciate that. And you can subscribe to my backup platform in WJ, the world's most dangerous boxing platform. Now, I'm about to repeat myself, but for all the new subscribers, it's new to you, but my old subscribers, or the OGs, I should call them, they've heard me say this multiple times. Anthony Joshua will beat Deontay Wilder. You say, well, how is that? Deontay Wilder just touches people when they fall down. Just about everybody he hits gets knocked down in dramatic fashion. So if I go outside and I go whoop up on a dude that's like 160 pounds, is that impressive? What I'm saying is Deontay Wilder is not fighting the caliber of fighters that makes his knockout percentage that impressive to me. Now, if he was knocking out the guys on Joshua's resume, then you guys might have an argument. But like I always say, I take it back to the old school. He's not knocking out the Ray Mercers. He's not knocking out the David Tuas, the Mike Tysons. He's not doing it. He went 12 rounds with Bermane Stiverne the first fight. And, it's just like people don't look at it like that. And some want to say, well, he's just gonna cream Joshua. Look what Wilder did to Helenius. First of all, I said that fight looked suspect. But second of all, that's who he was preparing for the whole training camp. Joshua was preparing for Dillian White, and then with 7 days notice, he got Helenius. So instead of punching down, he had to aim it up. That's what Derrick James was talking about. That's a big difference. The trajectory of your punches makes a difference. And plus, like I said, you just crowd Deontay Wilder, and he can't land that big right hand. And then, some will say, well, Helenius tried to crowd his right hand, and look what happened to him. Yeah, but that's just one fight. If you crowd his space, he's in trouble. Tyson Fury knew how to stop that style. You throw a lot of feints, you rough him up, you put your weight on him, and those little skinny legs can't handle it. But can Deontay Wilder knock Joshua down? Of course, he can knock him down, but when Joshua was knocked down, every time he got back up. On Joshua's worst night, he ended the fight on his feet. On Wilder's worst night, he ended the fight on his face. Big difference. And if Deontay Wilder hits so incredibly hard, how come he couldn't keep Tyson Fury down, a man who was knocked down by Steve Cunningham, a blown-up cruiserweight? If he's that powerful, how come he couldn't keep Fury down? And Fury drops, you can hit Fury with a shot that's not that hard and he'll drop, but he'll get up. So how do you explain that? How do you explain that? Also, something y'all might not know. Vladimir Klitschko knocked down or maybe out Deontay Wilder in sparring years ago with a body shot. So, looks like some of these heavyweights can't take it to the body. Usyk took a knee when he got hit in the body. Wilder either got stopped or knocked down by Klitschko. Well, I believe he got stopped, but don't quote me on that. But it's just, you have to go with the guy that has more tools. If you have a whole training camp of taking away the right hand of Deontay Wilder, then he's in trouble. And I still say, how fair is it for Deontay Wilder to box with metal implants in his hand? And if you go back to look at his earlier fights before he got that, he was knocking dudes out, but it wasn't so dramatic. The minute he got the Anakin Skywalker hand, he started knocking people out just by, you touch them, they just out. But people were. I knew they were gonna say, "Well, Wilder knocked out Helenius easier than Joshua." Well, Joshua knocked out Eric Molina quicker than Wilder. Molina gave Deontay some problems in what 7 or 8 rounds. Joshua finished him in 2. So what are you talking about? If you want to look at it like that, but Helenius matches up different with Anthony Joshua than he did with Wilder, and he learned his mistake. If that was a genuine fight, Helenius learned his mistake, I'm sure, and figured out, I'm not going to rush in like I did against Wilder when I'm fighting Joshua, because I don't want to get embarrassed and knocked out in the same fashion. But, Joshua's getting a lot of this hate. It's the same thing people used to say about Lennox Lewis. He was too cautious. He's just too cautious, and he was knocking everybody out. Now people regard him as one of the best heavyweights of all time. I say he's the best heavyweight of all time. And you guys got to stop looking at Deontay Wilder's punching power against that resume. If the resume is not that impressive, then the knockouts aren't that impressive. If you're knocking out dudes with that normally go the distance, then yeah. But if you're knocking out dudes I never heard of, then no. Absolutely not. Another thing I wanted to mention, when Anthony Joshua knocked out Helenius and had him on the ropes, it kind of reminded me of Lewis Rockman 1, the first fight, how he had Lewis on the ropes and hit him. It was almost identical to that punch. But, I'm going back to Deontay Wilder fanboys. They're just going to pick their guy because that's who they like, And years ago, I probably would have picked Wilder to beat Anthony Joshua. But when you do fight analysis, you see that Anthony Joshua is the much better rounded fighter. Punches just as hard, if not harder, or maybe not as hard, but he still punches hard. And where's Wilder's mind at now? People want to talk about Anthony Joshua's mind isn't the same. And, I've even questioned him at some point, is he focused like he used to be? But, he sent a message to the boxing world this past weekend. But where's Wilder's mind at? He got knocked out badly in that last fight against Tyson Fury, and then he just went 1 round with Helenius and hasn't had a fight in over a year now. So where's his mind at? Is he that serious about boxing? And I'm going to say this again, and I don't care who likes it and who doesn't. How in the world are you going to get rid of Mark Breland and bring in a guy that you stopped? How's the guy that you stopped going to teach you how to box? Even though that was a suspect. Suspect like a lot of Butterbeans fights back in the day. But that was suspect. And y'all want to act like Malik Scott is such a great trainer. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If I knock out somebody, believe me, I'm not going to call them on the phone and be like, hey, man, the way you took that overhand right and fell to the canvas, man, I think you learned a lot from that. You want to come train me? Absolutely not. Why am I going to bring in a guy that I stopped? I want to bring in somebody maybe that hurt me or gave me a boxing lesson. I'm not going to bring in somebody that I stopped just because they'll probably be a yes man. And I don't care who likes it. I don't care if Malik Scott doesn't like it. I don't care if Deontay Wilder doesn't like it. I don't care if his fanboys don't like it. I'm going to speak the truth, and that's the truth. Would you get a guy you beat in chess to come try to teach you how to play chess? Absolutely not. How much sense does that make? What, he learned that much from his loss that now he's a great trainer? No, if y'all don't stop. Anyway, and if you guys want to talk about the Luis Ortiz fights with Deontay Wilder, Was Luis Ortiz really that good? And plus, being a lefty throws off your balance. A lot of guys that are lefties get knocked down easily because of their foot placement. So I'm not saying Luis Ortiz wasn't good, but I mean, you guys be acting like he was David Tua or something, or Mike Tyson. I mean, dude, there's a reason Wilder fought him 3 times. Man, Wilder's got the craziest fans I've ever seen since I've been watching the sport. These people just come up with crazy stuff, and they like to say he's gonna smash Joshua because it took Joshua 7 rounds to stop Helenius. And you got to realize Joshua went the distance twice with one of the best fighters of all time, Usyk. Came back and avenged his loss to Andy Ruiz. And you guys like to say that wasn't impressive. It was very impressive. He put on a clinic, changed his style, dropped weight, did what he thought he needed to do for that fight. And now I think AJ realizes I don't really need to drop weight. I'm 6'6", I can hold this weight. So now he's just fighting like a big man, but he's cautious, and that makes sense. Why go in there reckless? After Vladimir Klitschko got stopped, he changed up his style. He started to punch and hold more. Might not have been a crowd-pleasing style, but what's pleasing is a victory. And you have to do what it takes to win. Because if he gets knocked out, y'all going to be the first ones to be like, oh, he's lost it. Why did he go in there swinging reckless? So he can't win. If he fights cautiously, then he's not hungry. If he fights aggressive, then, he has no skill and he should join the tough man circuit. Interesting boxing fans out there. And I admit, I was saying to, yelling at the screen, I was like, come on, Joshua, open up, rush this dude. But, he's in there. And it's different when you're in there than when you're watching. I remember, I've told this story before, my first time sparring, it was a guy named Alex from the UK. Dude was 6'7", he was like 260, I'm 250. And I was watching him spar with this other guy, and I was like, man, I'm going to go in there and jab this dude silly. Man, that dude was jabbing me so hard, hit me to the body. I was like, man, this dude is strong. We would clinch. He wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back. That was the strongest guy I ever sparred with. I'm like, man, this dude is strong. His trainer was Lisa Lake's dad, the news reporter. And his trainer used to work with Ken Norton's camp, too. I forget his name, ex-NBA player. He was real tall. But yeah, that dude was the strongest dude I ever sparred. And what's interesting, he told me he could feel my power. And I was like, wow, really? Because like when we would clinch too, he would hit me with a shoulder, right in the chin. Because even with headgear, your chin's kind of exposed. This part's out. I didn't wear off in that headgear with the bar right here. But I'm off topic now. I'm talking about me. Never mind what I'm talking about me. But y'all might want to go back and look at Deontay Wilder's resume and study the opponents he stopped. They're not on the same level with AJ's resume. AJ has the best resume out of Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Usyk. He's got the best resume of all of them. His only easy opponent, and that was at the time, was Charles Martin. But Charles Martin's a different fighter now. In fact, I would like to see them run that back because Charles Martin has been kind of impressive, especially in his last fight against Big Baby Anderson. So, other than that first fight with Charles Martin, AJ's had a tough resume. Usually fighters have a tough fight and then the next one is kind of, so-so to kind of give them a bit of a break. But y'all gonna see when they fight. I told you Crawford was gonna beat Errol Spence. Y'all thought I didn't know what I was talking about. And I'm telling you right now, Anthony Joshua will knock out Deontay Wilder in dramatic fashion. For one, he's much bigger. Deontay Wilder has trouble with bigger guys other than Dominic Brazil. Look at Tyson Fury was bigger and he had trouble with him. And Anthony Joshua is a harder puncher than Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury probably tell you that. Even though Tyson Fury's knocking out people lately, AJ is a harder puncher. And what I liked about how he stopped Tulaney is he did what Emmanuel Stewart talks about. He didn't punch the target at the target. He punched through the target. He didn't just go, pow. He followed through and put his 250 pounds on Helenius's jaw, and he took his frustrations out on Helenius's jaw. You know, I could have done without the stuff he did after he knocked him out. You know, he could have done it a different way, but Joshua's a tough guy. You guys, I guess you guys think because he talks with a British accent or something that he can't rough you up. Like that don't mean nothing. You know, a dude can talk with what's Chewbacca, Wookiees or whatever, and still knock you out. Don't matter about the accent. People used to talk about Lennox Lewis's accent. First of all, Lennox Lewis barely has a British accent at all. He's more raised in Canada, and he'll have a Jamaican accent sometimes or even sound more American. He doesn't even sound that British. But people like to act like your accent's going to win and lose you a fight. It don't matter if you come in there talking like Ice Cube, yay, yay. It doesn't matter if you come in there talking like Pierce Bronson or whatever his name is. Has to do with these, has to do with your bravery, your heart, your courage, your skills. And the cliche that I get tired of is styles make fights, styles make fights. There's only so much you can do with your hands. It's more about the heart than the styles. This ain't mixed martial arts where you switch up and do one style to another. This is boxing. You only use your hands. You use your legs too, but you don't actually use them to hurt the opponent, just to move around. So more than styles make fights, I want to step on that cliche. I don't follow trends. More than styles make fights, courage, bravery, hearts make fights. Because what difference is your style if you ain't got no heart? If you ain't got no heart, the person with the heart's going to walk right over you. And I've seen it happen, and I'm sure you have too. So, stop following what's popular. Stop being bandwagon hoppers. Think for yourself. Analyze it. I hate to hear people repeating things that, like, you can tell, like, who's been watching CNN, and I call it corrupt nightly news. You can tell who's been watching that and who's been researching on their own, but I'm going to leave that at that. But that applies to the boxing people out there as well. You have got to stop going off what people say. Go back and look at their fights. Go back and watch Deontay Wilder's fights and go back and watch Joshua's fights and see who has the better resume. Also, there was an early fight in Deontay Wilder's career y'all might not know about because the internet seems to be swept of it, got swept, where Deontay almost got stopped early in his career by a journeyman. And I can't find that fight anywhere, but I heard JD's even talk about it, so I know it's true. So if a journeyman was knocking him down way back then and he's been in 3 rough fights with Tyson Fury, what do you think Joshua was going to do to him? What journeyman has knocked Joshua down? I wait. Exactly. Don't be brainwashed. If you are, I got a quarter for the dryer. J. Roos Theory. LSR forever. Make sure to comment, share, subscribe. Shout out to Tim Witherspoon. Shout out to Andrew Tucker World. Shout out to Counterpunch Boxing News. Kurt. Shout out to Viking Samurai. Shout out to V's Walk Like You Talk TV. Shout out to Old School Tried and Tested. Shout out to Boxing Wave if I hadn't said that. Shout out to Tony's Reviews. Shout out to Boxing on the Edge. And all the great boxing channels out there. Showbiz the Adult. All the people that know the sport. And let's keep this thing going. Boxing's had a big year. There's enough room for all of us to make it. We don't have to, you know, I'm not a supporter at all of these, as far as like watching their content. I don't like these boxing platforms where dudes just go on there and talk crazy and you hear racist stuff. It's like that has nothing to do. That's not boxing. And I know race is a big part of boxing, but the name calling, that's soft. That's soft. If y'all got a problem, then squash it in the ring, but don't get online and start, oh, I'm gonna do this and your race is this. That's so weak, dude. That's so weak. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. We didn't have that luxury of, exercising our fingers. If we exercised anything, it was our fists. This generation's become way too soft when a boxing conversation turns into, well, you got big lips and your nose is big. That's weak. Anyway, thanks for watching. Be fearless. LSR forever. Yay, yay.